advantage over Boston. Here's the coach of Miami, Erik Spoelstra.
Erik, I know it's more than just his scoring, but Jimmy just seems to be finding, as you get deeper into the playoffs, just finding new ways to put his thumbprint on games. And was the second half maybe just a continuation of him raising whatever bar he set for himself in these playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, each level and round the competition is raised, and you can sense it, you can feel it. It's a very good team over there, well-schooled. They know what they want to try to get to. They put a tremendous amount of pressure on you in the paint. I mean, that was almost record-setting what they were doing, to our defense in the first half in terms of getting into the paint and breaking us down. And then, Jimmy just really inspired everybody in that third quarter. Those two steals kind of changed the momentum. And then every time and pocket in the game when we needed to control, the game or get the right shot or make the right decision, Jimmy had his fingerprints on that. You're seeing great two-way basketball really on both sides. He was lined up against a great player, the entire game. That great player was lined up against him. This is what it's all about, elite two-way basketball.
Erik, that third quarter, we know what we see, but even before Jimmy's two steals and then the dunk, there was so much else going on. What do you see that turns a game like that? What specifically did your team do in that burst that finally...
It wasn't one play. It was multiple effort plays that our group ignites from that inspiration. It could be Tuck diving on the floor, making an extra effort, batting the ball away, Bam's block, Jimmy, the two steals, the closeouts, by Max, Gabe, coming in there and digging out some loose balls when they have an opportunity to dunk it, underneath. The guys were just really, disappointed at halftime. I barely needed to say anything. Everybody was just disappointed at our defensive effort and focus. But look, this is a very good team that we're playing against. So it's not only us, saying that, hey, we have to do that better. They're putting a lot of pressure, on our defense. And, that's what you expect when you get to this level.
You mentioned the first half how they were breaking the defense down, and I think they were 16 of 20 at the rim in the first half, which was pretty uncharacteristic. What was fixed on that in the second half?
We contained the ball at the point of attack a little bit better. To say that you can do that mano-a-mano without any kind of help is totally unrealistic. It has to be a team defense. You have to, get in the gaps. You have to rotate. You have to make multiple efforts. They're going to get you scrambling at some point because they're going to, even if you cut off the first drive or the second drive, there's going to be a spin dribble and then a scramble as they make a pass out. You've got to, get to a three-point shooter, get them off the line, and then it just begins when the shot goes up. There's going to be a lot of grappling, blocking out, and then you got to go up in traffic and get it. We just made a lot more plays in that second half.
How important was PJ kind of coming back from that injury and then kind of being there and during that key third quarter run for you guys?
I feel like I've said this about, a bunch of our guys, that the heartbeat of our team, because Bam is, obviously Jimmy is, but Tuck for sure is. He inspires everybody. And by the time that I had walked into the locker room, he looked at me dead in the eye and said, "Don't even think about it. I'm playing." In the second half. I'm like, all right, I wasn't questioning it, but what he does, doesn't really get noticed by, everybody out there because I don't have my glasses. I don't even know what his stat line was, but you're talking about one of the toughest covers. And then when he's on the weak side, he does all the right things. He's like a great linebacker. He just gets everybody organized, and he communicates so well. Guys get to their spots.
Erik, you've spoken to us all year about the great transition that Gabe has made from a undersized scorer to playmaker. But players tend to retain their instincts. Are there times when you like to see that come out? It seemed like Gabe knew that he had to turn a little more in the third quarter toward that to get you going. Is it nice to know that he still has that there for opening when required?
Yeah, but I think the biggest part of his development is just making winning basketball plays and not trying to be what anybody might think he has to be, whether that's a gunslinger, whether that's just a guy, a setup guy, or somebody to try to fill Kyle's shoes. He's a different player, but he has so much experience with us. I know he doesn't have like extensive NBA experience, but he has 3 years with us. He's not a 20-year-old. He's a pro, and he's earned a lot of confidence in the locker room, and he knows how to bring out different things. Whether he needs to get the ball to certain guys like Jimmy, or we needed a spark. We needed some shooting, in that second half, and he was able to provide that.
Getting back to Jimmy for a second, what is it about his personality that allows him to raise the level of his own game as the platform and the games themselves get bigger?
I said this before. Jimmy Butler is an elite competitor. There's a lot of guys in this league that are playing basketball. He's competing to win. That's a totally different thing, and he does that as well as anybody in this league.
How important was transition basketball tonight? Both teams seemed intent on running off of misses.
I mean, of course, right? You have two really good defenses. You're looking for any kind of advantages in the margins. Whatever we're saying, I guarantee they're saying it, and they definitely did that to us in the first half.
Actually, going back to that first half, or halftime, we should say, you mentioned that you didn't really have to say anything to the guys. They kind of had the understanding of what was going on. What kind of was the gut check moment where things did change there in the third quarter?
Just getting a few more stops. We're accustomed to getting multiple stops in a row. Like, I'm sure Boston, feels the same way. You have two teams that are kind of mirror images, just in terms of the competitiveness defensively. And when that's not happening, there's a lot of emotions. There can be disappointment, frustration, anger, like all of that. And that's what this whole series is going to be about.
Their defense at the very start of the game seemed to hit you guys pretty hard.
Yeah.
Maybe first 10 or 12 possessions. What was that first timeout?
You got to get used to it.
Message?
This is different than, and they've, each level you go, you're going to get a higher level. The four teams that are still around are committed defensive teams. You're not going to just come down and, a simple action and get a wide open shot. You're going to have to really do things with detail. Every detail matters in a series like this, and we have great respect. It's not as if our guys haven't seen Boston play this year. You take notice when they're holding teams under 90, like consistently. What they do is really unique, and you got to do things with great purpose.
Erik, you talk about Jimmy's competitiveness and doing a little bit of everything for you guys, but he's already scored 36 or more times in the playoffs than he did in the entire regular season. Most guys' playoff scoring numbers go down.
Yeah.
Is some of this just the way you guys go going over the scouting reports or any of that kind of stuff?
Obviously everything is, you have heightened attention to detail. But again, I don't want to get a long dissertation about it. If you're driven by competition, and the stakes get raised, you're going to raise your level of play. And it's not about, trying to get bigger numbers or it's about doing what's required. And this level is a high level, this competition. And he senses it, and he knows it, he feels it. And he was able to produce and put us in a position, to feel comfortable to be able to win this game tonight.